Sounds good, man. Well, I would say that since the relationship is early on, I would um I would be very just what's the word? Would be the appropriate word in this. Be very cognizant of how your and all of us, and I say your, but I say kind of loosely because I don't know you well enough for you, but I would say how maybe your tendencies of like nice guy will pop up. One of the things that I know that all of our women like to do is challenge, and that challenge a little bit of the shit test is an important part for you to maintain your frame of masculinity, keeping the drive and the structure. And so whether or not she's in agreement of, the boyfriend, girlfriend, but she wants to jump right to engagement, that's a control piece. It's very subtle, but no, it's not going to be that way. It's going to be my way. And that is something that I have found, especially with strong women, herself a very strong woman. It's a test of security, right? And it's also a test of who's going to be driving the decisions. So I would just be conscious of that because nice guys tend to default towards, okay, I'm going to let her make the decisions and chart the trajectory. And if we treat it like a game, cool. I think that's a great step in the future. We're definitely moving towards that. I need a little more time to figure you out though, too. We're interviewing each other. So I think boyfriend, girlfriend would be a good phase before that. And just playfully, right? Because anybody that dates for 5 months and not so you can't jump right to engagement. Plenty of people do it, but if you're not ready to go right to that season, just be willing to challenge back a little bit in a loving way. That creates the structure, and again, it takes the decision making away from her and puts back on your plate.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of like, I think you hit it on the head. Initially it was just kind of like, okay, that's fine. I'm cool with that. And now I'm learning more about how to not be the nice guy and how to, obviously still be nice, but to focus in on that masculinity of that leadership quality and going, hey, like I know who I am, I know what I'm capable of, and I know what I offer. If you don't recognize that and you don't appreciate that and you don't want to take this journey with me the way that I want to lead us on this journey, then maybe we aren't for each other, or maybe you need some more time to think about it. And I think for me, I've come to that point of, I'm ready to draw some sort of figurative line in the sand, maybe not, very hard or aggressive, but like you said, a playful line in the sand, but still going to be a line in the sand where, I've realized, hey, this is something that is important to me. And if things that are important to me aren't going to be important to you, then maybe isn't the right road anyway. And I think, if we've been dating for this time period and the way we talk to each other and the amount of investment we've put into each other, I do think it's fair to say, hey, there should be some type of, claim that this is something you are doing right on your end, right? And not just, hey, I'm claiming that I'm with this girl and I'm dating her, and you're claiming you're dating me, but yeah, like, are you claiming it to anyone else out in the world, or are you keeping your options open?
Does it matter to you?
I think it does. I think for me, it's if you're trying to keep your options open, are you actually trying to be in this relationship and grow together?
Yeah, but does
Um,
it matter to you if you've made a decision?
it doesn't matter if what. So say that again.
Does it matter to you if you've made a decision?
What do you mean by that?
Like if you've made a decision that she's the one that you want to pursue and you're committed to the relationship, does the title matter to you? Boyfriend, girlfriend? And the reason why I'm asking that is if you are a contingent commitment, contingent meaning I want her to close off options because I'm closing off options. That's that covert contract that shows up in the nice guy. Versus a committed man says, I'm choosing you, whether you respond to boyfriend, girlfriend or not, that I'm going to refer to you because I just want everyone else to know that I've made a decision with you. I'm closing off options. Of course, I would love it, honey, if you also reciprocated that. I can't expect that of you. I understand that what you want is a ring on your finger. I'm not ready for that yet because I'm still testing you out. That's a very different conversation because it says I've made a decision versus I'm waiting for you to make a decision so that I can make a decision. And that's the shit test. That's the test of her saying, well, it's got to look this way. And you saying, okay, versus I haven't decided. I'm cutting off options because of who I am rather than needing her to be different. That
Yeah.
provides safety and security, the number one need, safety and security. She's going to push you. She's going to test you, especially if she's been married, she's got kids, all that stuff. She's going to say, is this guy actually emotionally stable enough in his commitments, or can he be swayed based on my emotions?
Yeah. That's
Does that
good.
does that land?
Yeah, no, it does. And I think I think I am coming from a little bit of a contingency standpoint, for sure. So I do
Sure.
think that lands. And I think it's funny because when I got to the point where I was deciding to, pursue her, that is how I handled it, right? Before I asked her to be my girlfriend, I said, look, I'm going to cut off all options in my life, do what you do. I've decided that I'm going to pursue you, and I'm going to be exclusive to you as far as my life goes. And I just made that declaration. I didn't ask her for anything in return. But now I'm sitting here going, okay, it's been 5 months. I'm not really seeing anything on your end aside from our little private conversations. And I think part of it is that I've seen other things come in the wicks. And so I think, I think part of it might be that contingency aspect creeping in, and me going, hey, I want a little bit on this end to continue feeling secure in this relationship versus the identity of like, look, you're either going to want to be with me or not, and you're either going to see my value or not.
Yeah, but
Um,
if you know the value that you bring, and if you are able to protect, preside, and offer, good leadership and direction, why would she not choose you?
yeah,
And
exactly.
that's where the self-confidence, self-belief, and your internal self-love comes from. And if she doesn't choose you based on who you are, then you get to find a relationship that does.
Yep.
In this dynamic, and it always shows up in a relationship, it only shows up in really relationships because that's where all of our pain lies. If you don't decide that you're comfortable in your decision with like who you are independently of her, it will always waver based on her emotions. And her emotions are going to be like this, up and down. So you
Yeah.
need to decide as a decided man, this is the direction I'm going, and I'm going to put in the effort. I'm going to show up with value, and I'm going to love you regardless.